All right, guys, it's David here, and today I thought we would have just a little conversation, and that conversation is going to be about cook groups. Cook groups. Now, what is a cook group? A cook group is essentially a group of individuals that are coming together to cook sneakers. So you got people from all over the place coming together. Typically, there's going to be a cook group owner, and there's going to be some, moderators or staff or admin within the group that kind of help to disseminate information to everybody. And the thing is with cook groups are really dope. I think there's a lot of insight and info that you can get from a cook group that's going to really help you buy the sneakers that you want, resell the sneakers that you want, as well as just like general, just like banter and just good time. But there are some downsides, and I think one of the first things to kind of keep in mind with regards to cook groups is that there's always going to be a price that you're going to have to pay with joining a cook group. Now, the price for cook groups can range anything from $15 a month all the way to $60 a month. I'm in several cook groups, mainly because each of those different cook groups provides a different value. But I think there's a lot of takeaway that you can get from a cook group. And so, that's, I would say, the biggest thing is, look at the price for the cook group. Now, the price all depends on what it is that you're really trying to do. I would say even before we start the conversation of joining a cook group, what is it that you want to do with sneakers? Are you just a collector? Are you just a reseller? Because that's really going to really help you decide as to whether or not a specific cook group is going to provide value. There's some free cook groups, that are cheaper than 10, which you may not necessarily even get value from those, but you're going to essentially kind of have to join these cook groups to evaluate as to whether or not you're going to get some sort of value. And also, you can look on Twitter as well. There's some pretty active cook groups on Twitter that'll give you some insight and 411 in regards to, the success of their members. And just, you can kind of see, okay, are a lot of people cooking in that cook group? Is it, based off of that idea, you can kind of take the, get an understanding as to whether or not it's worth paying for that cook group. But on the other hand, there's some cook groups that aren't really active on Twitter. But I would say the good cook groups are pretty active on Twitter. I myself am a part of AM Notify. I'm also a part of Plug Notify. I'm also a part of AIO Notify, as well as Site Supply. So about 4 different cook groups. It might be a little excessive, but again, it's taken some time to kind of figure out, okay, I can go here because I know, XYZ. I'm going to get that from here. From here, I'm going to be able to get X, Y, and Z. So I think, in the end, I'm actually kind of thinking about dialing back, which cook groups I'm a part of. But again, just make sure that when you think about, what cook group you're going to join, just remember that it's all about price. Now, what kind of value are you going to get from a cook group? Now, again, this is going to kind of vary, but in general, you're going to be getting sneaker release info. So that's going to be things like keywords, early links, how to purchase those sneakers, as well as like analysis on sneakers. You're going to get not even just sneaker info and upcoming sneaker info, but there's all sorts of other different sub threads within cook groups, and most cook groups are going to be on Discord. I think there's some on Slack, but the ones that I'm a part of are all on Discord. And within those subgroups on Discord, there's all these different money making, I guess you could say, or sub niche topics or categories within that cook group. So again, you got some cook groups that talk about stocks, options, resale, card flipping, credit, like literally everything that it is that you're looking for, and you just like react with a role and you'll get the info from those specific cook groups. Now, whether or not that information is updated regularly, whether or not that information is accurate, it's really going to depend. I would love to tell you that, join this cook group and you're going to get everything that you're looking for, but that's not the case. And I'm also a part of other groups because of bots that I own. So I am a botter, quote unquote. I do own a few bots, And so I'm a part of those groups as well. And those groups have other sort of like, topics and categories that come up. So, you're going to be able to get a wide range of information. But again, it's going to come down to what information are you looking for? For me, I'm both a collector as well as I like flipping sneakers. It's not my full-time job, but I do it for fun. And so, I can get the info that I need in order to flip sneakers. I try to flip on a weekly basis. I try to catch restocks, and that's the kind of information that I'm going to be able to get. Okay, what's releasing this week? What's the price of that release? What are the keywords that I should probably think about using? What are the release times? Where globally is this release going to happen? There's also partnerships that those cook groups have with other service providers. So, if you are a botter, AYCD partners with a few different cook groups, I believe. And then there's also different like group buys. There's just like so much stuff that you can get from a cook group. And I know there's a lot of people that say, you shouldn't jump into a cook group because it's a waste of money. You could potentially get that information from Twitter. Now, it's kind of debatable because there are quite a few different Twitter accounts that do provide info in regards to stuff that's releasing. Boost Links is really good. J23 is really good for Jordans. As well as Sneaker Twitter is a really good account to follow. Drops by Jay is a really good Supreme account to follow. But again, the thing is you're not going to be able to get that information as early as you want it. Because again, there's some cook groups that have posted info about releases that are taking place months ahead of time. And, while, granted, you could say, yes, I only really need to know about the information that I need to know about maybe about a week or two out before the release. But again, if that cook group is providing, let's say, for example, some sort of pre-ordering type service, I'm not going to say the details of that, but that might take place months ahead of time. And you might be able to secure pairs of shoes ahead of time before the release happens that you couldn't necessarily do just with a Twitter account. So that's going to be the differentiation between when you join a cook group. There's some cook groups that are better than other cook groups, and that's why I'm a part of a few different ones, because I'm able to get what I need from each of those different cook groups. And again, Twitter is great. It's a great option if you're just collecting sneakers. You don't really care about botting. You don't really care about reselling. You're not really looking to interact with other people. Go to Twitter. Follow those accounts that I mentioned. You'll be able to attempt to get the stuff or the sneakers or the clothing items that you're trying to look for. You might be able to get that stuff off of Twitter. But again, with a cook group, you're going to be so much more prepared. There's other experiences. I mean, people are always hopping over voice chat and streaming and just doing all sorts of like dumb stuff, but it's enjoyable. It's kind of like a clubhouse, for lack of a better term. And it's just a good time. I would say, if you're thinking about buying or purchasing a cook group, and also just to kind of briefly touch base, some cook groups are very limited to where you can't just buy into the cook group whenever you want. And I would say that those cook groups that are harder to get into, I would say are probably going to be a little bit better or a little bit more of a quality experience, because they are curating that experience and making sure that, there's almost in a sense like control over the experience of the cook group. So, I would think of one like, for example, like AM Notify. You're not getting into that cook group unless somebody resells you access to that cook group, or they drop some, they allow for people to join at a specific period of time, and they only may allow like one or two people to join that cook group at that specific time. So if you're going to join a cook group, I would definitely say, start out, look at those cook groups that are like available, quote unquote, year round. That you don't have to worry about like setting up your auto fill for your billing information in order to join that cook group. Look for ones that are like kind of like always available. And then from there, over time, you can kind of get a sense of like, okay, you know, what, like if you're into botting, okay, what bots are people using? You know, you may be able to get into a bot group buy. That might transpire you to join that bot's cook community. And then from there, you know, maybe that cook community might connect you with another cook group. So, you know, really kind of just like take it one step at a time. Because again, there's so many different cook groups out there. You know, test it out and see what works best for you. Definitely check out BotBroker. I think BotBroker does have cook group information in it. Cop Supply also has cook group information there. It actually will link you to different cook groups that you can potentially join. And then also check out Title Market on Discord as well, where you can buy or join different cook groups and pay the monthly fee or monthly subscription fee for that. And yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like the gist of cook groups. You know, it really comes down to, okay, what is it that you're looking for in terms of an experience? If you're new to cook groups, that's going to take time to figure out. You're going to have to go through that process of weeding out, okay, this is the group that I should be a part of. You can use Twitter to figure out what group to be a part of. And from there, I mean, again, I think there's a lot of different opportunities that you're gonna have with a cook group. Some people say it's not worth it. I would say that if anything, it probably is worth it, because there's gonna be opportunities that you're gonna be able to get through a cook group. Group buy discounts. For example, I was able to get Nike Shoebot for about $150 off its normal price, which is something that you're not necessarily going to be able to get if you're not a part of a cook group. So that's my spiel. That's my rant on cook groups. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Would you guys join a cook group? Would you guys not join a cook group? What are your thoughts about cook groups? What are your questions about cook groups? Leave that information down below. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. And with that, guys, I'm going to end that there. I'm going to go try to cop some restocks. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I've been catching L's all weekend, guys. With that, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.